and welcoming you to gentle yoga this morning. Just getting rolling here, whether you're joining us live or you're watching the recording sometime later. We're going to come to find a comfortable seat today. I have my meditation cushion, which is the ultimate way to sit for me. Of course, blocks are great as well, or a blanket, something to sit up on where you can feel comfortable. And I wanted to introduce to you a new member of the family. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Shruti Box. All right, so just taking a hand on the heart and maybe making some sound this morning in your own room. Maybe it's just a hum, or maybe it's an om. Om. Maybe taking one more breath in. I'm just taking a moment here to pause and transition from whatever you've been up to this morning already, or whatever time of day it is, to come and arrive on the yoga mat by finding your tall spine. Even enjoying a little bit of silence. Maybe you can feel that after effect of creating the sound in your body. Maybe you would like to begin to tune in to your breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. As we move through today's class, knowing that it's not all light and sunshine, and sometimes it's dark and cloudy. And with that in mind, we balance. We balance the light and dark. We balance the effort and the ease. With the knowledge that the one true thing we can count on is that it will change, whatever it is. So riding the waves of the breath, if we can focus our attention on the breath, and this is like a microcosm of life, each breath in, each breath out, that cycle to be observed, the coming and the going. Seeing if you can maybe follow this thread, this tidal rhythm for 10 breaths this morning. Taking 10 breaths, and they don't have to be your biggest breaths. Yoga Sutras tell us that suffering that has yet to come can be avoided. And when I read that in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, some of the earliest writings about yoga, I thought, oh, great, let me know how. How can I avoid suffering? And really, it's changing my own viewpoint so that I don't ascribe a value to good or bad, that they're both just the different sides of the same coin, that the change needs to come within me, that I need to practice yoga and find that place to fix my attention so that I see that it's all change. It's all change all the time. And the one thing I can count on is that change. Right? So just throwing out a few little pearls for you to digest. Let's go ahead and begin to move a little bit. We'll move the head and the neck. So going ahead and tucking that chin and lifting the head up and back a few times. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe making some circular movements with the head or neck. Maybe taking a really big stretch, just flinging the arms wide. And then giving yourself a hug. Tucking the chin. Inhaling, opening the arms wide. Giving yourself a hug, opposite arm on top. Good job getting out of bed this morning, right? And then we'll go ahead and do that just 2 more times. And then let's crawl forward onto hands and knees. So coming to my hands and knees and doing whatever I need to feel comfortable here. Maybe that's a little extra padding underneath the knees. Maybe I need to hold blocks in my hands for tender wrists. And I might just wag the tail a few times. Make sure that I keep my playful, joyful, light-spirited approach to yoga today, even if I might be feeling a little bit heavy. Beginning to move the spine. Inhale, lift the head, the chest, sink the belly, lift the tailbone. And then pressing into the hands, you can tuck the chin and just find that rounded shape. And you can move back and forth at your own pace. We'll be taking 1 or 2 more cat-cows. And then let's stretch that right leg long. Rock forward and rock back a few times. Lift that right heel up, toe pointing down, and then we're going to cross off that left side of the mat and take a peek over the left shoulder. So you might feel a stretch here in the right side of the body. And you might breathe into that space. And then releasing back to center and switching sides. Left leg long, rock forward, rock back. Lifting that left heel up and crossing it off the right side of your mat. Peeking over the right shoulder and breathing into the left side body. Good, releasing back to center. And I'm just going to lift one leg at a time. Pressing one heel out, toe pointing down, kind of loosening up my lower body. Could be really slow. Maybe you're feeling fast this morning. So as if I could kick the wall behind me. I guess we could call this the donkey pose, right? And then I'll go ahead and take a little breather here, tuck my toes under. I might sit back on my toes if my toes feel like they'll let me do that, or I might just plug my fingertips into the earth, roll the wrists, whatever feels good for you. I'll take 3 lion's breaths here. So lion's breath, right? Yeah, we get to make a face that we don't usually make in daily life. So let's really enjoy this expression, opening the mouth, sticking out the tongue, and creating that soft little hiss or roar. Good, and then we'll crawl back onto hands and knees. I'm going to lift opposite arm, opposite leg, and then I'm going to crunch my elbow in towards my knee and re-extend. Switching sides, opposite arm, opposite leg, crunch in a little cat shape to the spine and re-extend. And you can move back and forth a few times at your own pace, moving with the breath. Finding what works for you in your body this morning. That's good, Beth. Good, steady, stable pelvis. Right, and we're going to be incorporating some more of these cross the midline exercises today as we balance the right and left hemispheres of the body and brain. When you feel like you've reached your max of this particular cross crawl exercise, you can meet me in child's pose. Right? Whatever modifications you need to make to experience, that lengthening of the spine and the forehead resting on something. Could be the earth, blanket, block, etc. Seeing if you can allow yourself 3 or 4 breaths here where you let go. Letting go of everything that's on the list today and giving yourself this opportunity to enjoy this being in a body, having the ability to breathe. Good. We'll inhale and come on up. And today we're going to lengthen both legs long and come right to a high plank. Coming right to high plank. If you have tender wrists, you can bring the knees down. I'm going to hold here and see if I can bring some space into my shoulder joints, right? So that might mean I'm going to allow myself to sink a little bit down and then push the floor away. We like to call these kind of scapular push-ups. And it's a lot of work. So if you need to bring the knees down, you can do that. And then I will bring my knees down and just shift my heart forward and come into a high Cobra pose. And then I'll come back to a downward facing dog. So tucking those toes under, lifting the hips, maybe the knees stay bent and you can pedal out the feet, walk the dog. Finding your breath. And then we'll come up onto your tiptoes. Bend the knees and take a lot of little steps. See if you can meet me towards the top of the mat and reset here for a forward fold. So I'm going to bring more space between my feet. Caring for my back today, I might keep my knees bent. This might be where you stay, right? Or if there's a little more room to travel, you could fold, drape yourself over those thighs, grab opposite elbows, and allow the head to release from the stem of the neck. You might even sigh it out the mouth. Make a little bit of noise in your own space this morning. And then as you're ready, coming to stand, nice and slow, right? Resetting anything you need to reset, grabbing that sip of water if you need a sip of water. Or maybe you're still on the coffee. So coming to the top of that mat and just rubbing the hands together. Rubbing the hands together, rolling the wrists. We did a lot on the wrists already today. And then I'll go ahead and just give you guys a high five with my right hand. So high five me, and I'm going to draw those fingertips back towards my shoulder. So I feel the forearm working. This is kind of like the counteracting movement to this, if you're typing or, I don't know, playing the piano a lot. So I'm going to give you guys that high five, and then I'll go ahead and pull my fingers back a little bit, bend that right elbow a little bit so there's a little more play. Big breath in and release. We're going to scoop underneath with that left arm, draw the arm across the body, or whatever way feels best for you. Larry, remember we found a different way to do this one. I think, right? Didn't we? Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Beautiful. And releasing slowly from this. We'll bring that left hand up. Give me a high five. Draw the fingertips back, little bend to the elbow. Reach up with the other hand. Awesome, guys. Release, scoop underneath with that right arm, or find another way to stretch. Keeping that left shoulder nice and low. Yeah, maybe I'll move my head around a little bit. Good, and then releasing. Let's go ahead and take hold of your strap. Hopefully you have a strap today, and if you don't, that's okay. Maybe you'll find an ordinary household item to work with. Dog leash or a tie or a robe sash, to name a few things that I've seen people practicing with, even a cord, even an extension cord. Okay, so I'm going to take the strap behind my back with plenty of space. So it's maybe a little wider than shoulder distance to start. And then I'm going to just simply lift the strap up away from the back of my body. And then releasing back down. Inhaling, lifting, right, and releasing back down. And noticing what's happening to my head and my neck. Am I really leaning forward? Am I jutting my chin forward? Can I stand up nice and tall? And then lift that up. That's good, Barb. Taking a few more behind the back lifts, and I might even be pulling on the strap just a tiny bit for resistance. You might notice it feels really different in one arm or shoulder than the other. That's good, Tim. A little higher, maybe. Yeah, beautiful. And one more. Beautiful. Okay, so bringing that strap to the front of the body, opening the strap nice and wide. And then I'll go ahead and lift my strap up overhead in like a V shape with a little extra space between my feet, perhaps. And notice if you get here and you're just kind of like gaping the rib cage open. So there's some awareness of the lower body and the core here. As I begin to move, stretching to the right, coming back to center, breath in, exhale, stretch to the left. Just moving back and forth here at your own pace. Can you notice what this feels like in between the ribs? And the hips. Good. Let's take one more on each side, lengthening. Beautiful, guys. And then we'll go ahead and take a moment to roll up your strap. See if you can count how many breaths it takes for you to roll up the strap. And then if you want to give me your number. All right. Beautiful. Let's come back to the top of the mat. We'll get the blood moving a little bit. Move that lymph fluid throughout the system. It doesn't move itself. It does not have its own pump. And that lymph fluid is so important, carrying the white blood cells that we need for immune function. So we need to move to pump the lymph. And the perfect way to do that is sun salutations. I'll just modify this. We're only doing part of a sun salutation. So I'm going to inhale my arms out and up. Exhale, slow, fold forward, only as far as feels safe for you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Palms press to heart center. Good, we'll do another one just like that. Inhale, arms rise, out and up. Exhale, slow, fold forward, no hurry to get there. Good, inhale, halfway lift or flatten the back. Exhale, fold, maybe a little bit deeper. Inhale, arms rise. Palms press to heart center. And we'll take one more. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Palms press to heart center. Now I might just take my hands in my back pocket, as if I were placing hands in back pockets, and squeeze my elbows towards each other, lift the heart, as if I were just kind of coming out of that hibernation, right, of my cave. I'm a bear coming out of my cave and I'm stretching. You know, I'm obviously anthropomorphizing a bear as it comes out of the cave, but that's how it feels this morning, doesn't it? So let's bring some movement into the lower body. I'm just going to be lifting one knee up at a time to start. And as I mentioned, we need to move the body to move the lymph. And the lymph nodes are located at most of the places in the body where it folds. You know, so here in the armpits, in the neck, in the hip creases, and behind the knees. And so from here, and I might bring a little extra space between my feet, bring my arms out to the sides, and begin to do that cross crawl that we had done with our balancing tiger. Cross crawl, and maybe you slow it down to make it more of a balance challenge. Maybe your stance becomes a little bit wider, and we're moving with the breath. So we had some research a while back that indicated that these cross crawl exercises lit up areas in the brain that were responsible for language and coordination. So interesting. Maybe one more on each side. That's good. I like it, Beth. She's doing that hip rotation dance. And then I'll come back to a wide-legged stance. Take my hands on my hips and just take a few hip circles. Just lubricating the hip joints. Maybe coming back the other direction. Good, and then let's come to a warrior one. Right foot forward, left foot back, a little bit of an angle. I'm gonna sink into my right knee. And maybe straighten my right knee a couple times, juicing up the knee joint. And then I'll inhale those arms out to the sides today. See if you can engage kind of tighten up that left, that left glute muscle for a little bit more stability. And I'm going to imagine here, as I bring my arms back a little bit farther, that I'm crossing through that finish line tape with my chest. It's beautiful, Deb. Big breath in, breath out. And then I'll go ahead and step up to mountain and give myself a hug. Stepping up to mountain, giving myself a hug, maybe tucking the chin. And then releasing back to warrior one with the left foot forward. I'm just feeling this for myself, maybe a nice wide stance if I feel wobbly today. Bending and straightening into that left knee. And with the knee bent, I'll reach my arms out to the sides, maybe bring those arms back a little bit. And even as I'm busting through that finish line tape, I'm aware of what's happening in my pelvis and in my core, so I might tip that pelvic bowl back a little bit. I've never busted through a finish line tape in first place, by the way. I just imagine it might be a really nice feeling, right? And to me, you're all winners today coming to class on a rainy day. So stepping up to mountain and giving yourself a hug, opposite arm on top, right? Or maybe the hands behind the back, Larry, if that would feel better. Yeah, it's good. And then releasing. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of balance today, a little bit of balance. We want to balance those moments. So I think balance work is really good to kind of remind us of the fluctuations of life. So I'm going to take a little bit of a bendy bounce to my knees, start to pour the weight into my right foot, and pick up that left knee. This might be where I stay. Or maybe my arms lift up, and we did this last week. Lifting up through the fingertips. This might be where I stay. Or I might be able to twist my torso to the left. Twist my torso to the left and bring my arms down, reaching one forward, one back. And if you step out of it, you come right back to it, that's fine. Right? So you're twisting the torso to the left and looking back over that left hand. That's good. And slowly coming back to center, arms rise up. It's a challenge. And then we'll release back down, walk it out a little bit. Maybe that hip rotation dance would feel good. So it does put some pressure on the hip joint to stand on the leg like that. I don't know what this effect is, Walt, that you have going on, but I love it. We'll have to talk. All right, so let's try the other side. Little bendy bounce. Weight will come into the left foot, right? And just take your time here. Maybe you stay with that right knee lifted and you work with that. Maybe you felt like you could swing the arms up. Maybe you stay here or twist to the right, twisting the torso to the right and bringing the hands down, reaching in both directions. And just wiggling those fingers. Good. Twisting back to center, arms reaching up one last time. And then we'll bring the hands together at heart center and take a little flow for the hips. Take a little sip of water, whatever you need. And then one more thing we might try here is bringing weight into the left foot. See if we could hug the right knee in. And then we're going to be opening the right knee to the side. Maybe that left arm. Wait a minute. What did I want to do? Yes, we're opening that left leg to the left. And the right arm is out to the right. Yeah, so. And you might try that. You might like that. You might switch sides. Weight in the left foot, pick up that right leg. Maybe you hold on to something for support. All right. Big breath in and release. Yeah, I like that, Tim. A little bit of ankle work while you're there. No stop shop, right? One stop shop. Okay, let's bring some space between the feet. Coming into a little bit of some of our wide-legged postures, which are so wonderful for opening the hips. So if you are caring for your hips today and your hips are feeling a little bit less than, you might have a little bit of a shorter stance. So we'll see how this feels for you as we bring the right toes to the right and angle the left foot in, coming to a warrior 2 foot posture, right? And just getting there slowly. So enjoying this transition into this pose. Transitions are part of the pose. And then I'm going to try hugging the muscles along my bones here in my hips, in my glutes, in my legs, and then lifting the arms out equally in both directions. I'll do the same with my arms, hugging the muscles along the bone, trying to tone, firm the muscles, and then gazing over that right palm. Gazing over the right palm, seeing if you can take 3 breaths in a row. As we balance effort with ease. What does that mean? It means, are there places in my body I might be able to let go of the effort? Maybe the shoulders, maybe the jaw. And I can feel that good effort in my legs. But releasing the hands down to the hips, we'll simply switch sides. Turning the left toes to the left, angling the right foot in, and bending into this left knee. And taking my time, firming the muscles along the bones. And this makes it a lot harder. I mean, I could hang out in Warrior 2 probably for a half an hour if I needed to. Well, that would be a little excessive. But when I bring that effort into my bones, into my muscles, it becomes a lot more challenging and I get a lot more out of this, especially if I'm looking to strengthen my bones. So gazing over that left hand, right? And then if I feel my breath becoming ragged, I might edge away a little bit from all of that firming of the muscles. That's good, Amy. Beautiful. Keeping that breath flowing. You've got it now. And then releasing the hands down to the hips, all 10 toes pointing to the side of the mat. We'll take a little dip forward, and I'm going to continue to firm the muscles along the bones once I get down into my wide-legged forward fold. So I might stay somewhat lifted today with a flat back. Right, I might use a chair for support. I might use blocks for support. If I'm able to deepen my fold today, I might bring my hands onto the mat and let the head hang. Get a little bit of a different perspective. And maybe on my exhalations, I could make a little noise. Sigh it out. Maybe one of my teachers calls upon us to flubber the lips. And I'm always kind of like, oh, I'm a little embarrassed to do that. But here in your own home, that might be completely accessible to you to just flubber the lips. It's a technical yoga term. And now we'll come back up. So taking your time, getting there slowly, easily. And we'll bring the right toes to the right, left toes angling in, creating that Warrior 2 foot shape again. Warrior 2 foot shape again. This time we'll reach forward with that right hand and bring it down and just rest that right hand on the knee for a moment. The left hand can come up or maybe over, right? And if you get here and you think, oh, I might be able to go a little deeper into this without losing where your left shoulder is placed, you could come down onto the forearm across the thigh, right? Or you could stay lifted. Yeah, that's a good choice, Carol. Like sometimes I feel with my back, but coming down really deep, put some pressure on the sacroiliac joint, way down in the lumbar area. Awesome, Beth. Beautiful. Judy B, Judy S. And then we're coming up nice and slow. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. How about a little circling of the hips? One direction, other direction. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Left toes to the left, angle the right foot in. Come into that warrior two stance that we have come to know so well. I'm going to reach forward with my left arm and just bring it down onto my knee. And then maybe that left arm lifts. This side could feel different. I might get here and think, well, I have a little farther I could travel. Or maybe this side feels a little bit rigid. Yeah. Take it slow, Amy. Breathe it out. That's good, Walt. With that back foot really pressing down. And then as you're ready, releasing back up. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. See what it would feel like to get a little bend into the knees. And if it's in your practice today, you might jump the feet together. Yeah, jumping the feet together, right? So we like to avoid lots of that in yoga. One of the reasons you come to yoga is because it's not high impact, right? So a lot of us have osteoarthritis in the joints, and we do not want to be pounding on the joints like that. But every once in a while, a little bounce is good. All right, so let's come to tree pose. We do it almost every time, never gets old. Today, if you're feeling wobbly, you could use a wall. You could take your back to the wall. Maybe you bring a little bendy bounce to the knees, weight in that right foot. I'm gonna pick up my left heel, open the knee to the side, and find my point of contact. So sometimes when I start my tree pose, I realize that it really throws my hips off kilter. So I'm gonna try to zip the hips. Zip up the hips. And just take the hands at heart center or whatever arm positioning feels right for you today. Yeah, that's right, Ted. Finding what works for you. So with that left foot placement, I'd like to see it anywhere but the knee. Anywhere but the knee. What happens if we, again, firm the muscle along the bone? You got it, Judy. I love it. Like all those trees in Swarthmore. Tall and open and lush. And releasing out of it nice and slow. Kick out that right foot. Maybe you really get into this kicking. I had a weird dream last night where it was like some kind of a combination of yoga and martial arts I was doing. I don't know what was going on. And now we'll go ahead and try the other side. Little bendy bounce to the knees, weight in that left foot. Find your point of contact on this side. And remember about your hips, zipping. The side could feel more or less stable. So just stay with what works for you today. Yeah, nice and tall through the crown of the head. Finding that breath, using something for support if you need to. That's good. Right, as we just find that equilibrium in the face of fluctuation. It's always going to change. As you're ready, release out and walk it out. And maybe massage the outsides of your hips. Good, all right, all right. How you guys doing? All right, let's come to a seated posture. So I'm gonna stagger my feet, drop my back knee down, come to balance on my knees. And if I feel good here, I might give myself a little stretch. I push the hips forward. And then I'll come to sit. I'm coming to sit with my knees bent right in front of me. Right, and I'll place my hands behind me for a little bit of support. There's lots of space between the feet. And then I'll drop both knees to one side. And as I drop both knees to one side, I'm also going to turn my body towards that knee. Right, so I'm facing out over the knee. So I've turned, let's say we turn to the right here, but it doesn't really matter which side. This, you might feel a lot in the left hip. You might feel this in the left knee or whichever knee is down. It's a big stretch. It's called a 90-90. Good, then we'll come back to center. Bring the knees back up and slowly bring the knees to the other side. And then I'll turn to face that knee. Yeah, you got it. Big breath in, breath out. And then releasing back to center. I'll go ahead and grab onto the backs of my thighs and kind of lean back a little bit and see if I can take maybe lift one leg up and then the other leg up. Right, and if this feels like too much on your lower back, you could bring the hands down behind you for support. Yeah, that's good, Ted. You might be working towards lifting both legs and holding both legs. And that might mean you kind of roll back a little bit to the area that's just behind the sit bone. So it's kind of the fleshy bit of the glute muscles. And I'm hugging my legs together, and I might lift both arms straight out. A big breath in, right? If you're really, really crunching in that low back, if you're really sinking down, see if you can come up a little higher. And then we'll take a breath. So bring both feet down. Let's take a moment here. Yeah, take a breath. And then let's do one more set of boat pose. You could skip it if your back's really hurting. Whatever modification works for you. So I'm working towards, straightening maybe one leg, straightening the other leg. Maybe I take a little ride on my paddle boat. And this is pretty challenging here, so if you need to modify, go for it. And there might be one little millisecond where both legs are straight and you're lifting the heart and pulling the shoulder blades together. And then we'll go ahead and release to a bound angle pose. Feet together, knees apart. You might push one knee to the side, push the other knee to the side. You might massage the feet as we have been doing lately. Good, and then we'll come to lie on the back in constructive rest pose. So that just means lying on the back with the knees bent. If you need a little neck support, you could roll up a towel or pillow, something under the neck. I'm just going to place my hands on my belly. Let's see if I can notice, maybe even compare my breaths at the beginning of our class to my breaths that I'm feeling now. And when I first came in, was I feeling that weight and that heaviness of the day? Is there anything that's different about my essence, my vitality now? And the answer doesn't have to be yes. So from here, I'll just rock the pelvis a few times, lifting the belly button up, pressing the belly button down. And then we'll move up into a bridge pose. If you like, you can squeeze a block between the knees, between the thighs, I mean. Block between the thighs. And really taking care here, if you have that neck support, you could take that out. And I'm really going to make sure that I just keep my head pointed straight forward. I'm not turning the head from side to side. And I'll start gently, but just by bringing my upper arms into the earth, fingertips pointed towards the ceiling, robot arms. Pushing into the upper arms, can you feel that little lift of the heart? And then from here, squeeze that block, push into the feet, lift the hips. Maybe you can wriggle the shoulders and get a little bit higher. Right? It's quite a lot of neck flexion. So if this feels uncomfortable for you, you come down a little bit. Maybe you can explore a different arrangement of the arms or the hands, if you like, interlacing the fingers underneath the back. And pushing through the low back, middle back, and then finally the upper back. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. Now I'll release my arms overhead without coming down yet. And slowly set myself down on my mat. See if I can feel those one vertebra at a time. And then when you get there, you can release the block if you had one. Open the arms out to the sides, lots of space between the feet. And we're just going to wash the knees from side to side. Hoping we don't need to use the actual windshield wipers today, weather-wise. Taking the windshield wiper of the knees, lingering, right? If you feel like you need to linger. Good, and then I'll come back to center. I could hug both knees into the chest if I like. And then I'll plant both feet down. Let's take the feet and the knees together. And I'm going to drop my knees towards the left side and open my arms out to the side. So just a really gentle twist today. So Larry, you could be doing a seated twist if you like. Remembering to, yeah, that's good. Resetting the knees back to neutral. Feet together, knees together, dropping both knees to the right. And then resetting to neutral. I'll go ahead and with my knees bent, slide a block underneath my sacrum. Sliding a block underneath my sacrum for supported bridge. Allowing myself this moment to surrender a little bit. Right? Can you let your feet be heavy? Can you let go of the hips? Allow the shoulders to soften and sink. This feels really good. You could stay. I might like to try stretching my right leg out and lifting my right arm all the way overhead. So I might feel, there's length in the right side of my body. And just closing the eyes here. And with my awareness, feeling the whole right side of my body. From the toes all the way up the leg to the hip. The right side of the chest. The right shoulder, arm, fingertips. Even the right side of the face. So feeling the whole right side with my awareness. Maybe feeling that vitality. Gently releasing back to center. Bending the right knee, bringing that right arm back by your side. And then we'll do the other side. So I love this stretch. Left leg long, left arm lifting overhead to whatever degree feels safe for you. Some of us don't have a shoulder movement. And I can just feel my hip flexor and my left hip starting to lengthen. Maybe relax a little bit as I close my eyes. Feel the whole left side of my body. Feel that whole left side from fingertip to toe with my awareness. The whole left side of the body is vital, alive. You could reset to neutral with the knees bent, or you could try lifting both arms overhead and lengthening both legs. And this could put a little bit of extra pressure on your lower back, so that might not be for you. But you could give it a try, or you could come down off the block and do it off of the block as well. Feeling both sides of the body, filled with your awareness, filled with that unchanging essence that is your spirit. Or maybe the observer of your body. And as you're ready to come out of this, you could bend the knees, lift that sacrum, slide the block away. I'll make any other movements, maybe one more time, hugging the knees in, rocking from side to side. Any other little movements the body's asking for, and we'll take a nice deep Shavasana today. Maybe you like lifting both legs overhead and pressing through the toes, pressing through the heels. Maybe you like TikTok legs or scissoring the legs. And then when you're ready, finding your Shavasana, getting all those things you need for support. That could mean another layer, a sip of water, some neck support, a blanket, something underneath the knees is always recommended for low back troubles. So I'm even sleeping at night with a pillow under my knees for my back. Coming to rest in your Shavasana pose, whether it be seated today or you're lying down. Just beginning to notice all the areas of the body that touch down. Can you release hold of any effort in the limbs, in the neck, in the jaw? And allowing yourself to feel that heaviness. Surrendering to gravity. At the same time, all the parts of the body that are not touching down might feel light, effervescent, alive. Perhaps you can allow yourself to experience both at the same time. The feeling of groundedness, the feeling of levity, vitality. And then allowing yourself to simply let go for another few minutes. Completely letting go, even of the breath. And perhaps you can begin to re-enter the body slowly by noticing your breath coming in at the nostrils. As you're ready, bringing small movements back into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Coming to lie, roll on to the side, giving yourself a hug. Or if you're already seated, giving yourself a hug. And then meeting me in that tall spine. Coming up to sit whenever you're ready. Taking that hand over your heart. Joining me in the creation of a few ohms this morning. Breathing in. Thanking you so much for your practice today. Namaste.